Monday, April 22nd, and I hope you all do something today to further your goals and to help you realize your dreams. All right, now let's get into it. So I'm part of many Facebook groups, and one of the Facebook groups I belong to deals with relationships and talks about different things or poses different questions to the group and the audience, and people can comment and kind of go back and forth, similar to what I do on my platform, Life, Relationships, and everything in between. So it was a question that was asked in a post. Is a married woman, specifically a married woman, is it okay for her to accept financial help from a man that's not her husband? And some of the comments and some of the replies that I was coming across, I won't say that they offended me, but kind of annoyed me a little bit. And one in particular, there was a woman who said, of course it's okay for her to accept financial help from the man as long as and her husband or other man has to know about it. And that immediately struck me as being a little bit oxymoronic, and I'm going to tell y'all why. First of all, right, I'm going to start by saying, and this is no shade to women, but I don't believe any woman is qualified to answer this question, because this is about the perspective of a man. A question like this is more about how the mind of a man works. And for the people who are going to say, before I even get started, I already know, some people are going to go, well, that's insecurity, that's this, that's that. The reason why I'm glad that this post specified marriage, and this is going to be what I'm going to harp on throughout this discussion, well, I guess it's a monologue. I hate not having consistent people to go back and forth on these different types of topics, but it's all good. I'm a G it out. So, reason why I'm not including all relationships is because specifically in a marriage, there are vows that are exchanged back and forth between those two people who are getting married. And one line on those vows are, for richer or poorer. Doesn't matter if I'm financially up, if you're financially up or down, we're supposed to do this together on one accord and in agreement, right? 9 out of 10 men will not be okay with any wife of theirs accepting any type of financial anything from another man outside of a man in their family. And that's not a insecurity thing. And I think any woman who thinks that is insecurity, you're mistaken. You have to understand and respect the mind of a man if you're going to marry that man. And this is part of the problem, as I sidetrack for a little bit, that most of you women, why I don't respect a lot of you women, is because y'all want men to respect y'all, to respect the position of women, to respect that women are sensitive, to respect that women want to have attention, to respect that women want to feel protected, to expect, and understand that women want certain things from men as a criteria baseline. But then to turn around and not understand that we as men have some similar requirements, and there are a few things that we require as well. And a man will directly correlate a woman, his wife, accepting any kind of financial anything from another man as disloyalty, as disrespect. It just is what it is. It doesn't matter if you don't agree with that viewpoint. If that man sees that thing as disrespectful, it's something that you need to deal with in your marriage. And again, I specifically say marriage because I think that there's a slightly different dynamic in a relationship. There may be unwritten rules and guidelines and things that should be followed, but specifically in a marriage, you have taken a vow. And this doesn't even have to be a religious thing, because there are plenty of people who get married who are not religious, but you still took a vow to that person. Even if you want to take God out of it, you took a vow to that person that in sickness and in health, better or worse, and richer or poorer. So for this woman, the reason why I feel like her comment was oxymoronic is because to say that yes, it's okay for a woman to accept financial help from a man outside of her husband, but then to to issue the stipulation that, but he has to know about it. Once that man knows about that situation, he's not going to be okay with it. 9 out of 10 men are going to tell their wives, nah, you good, we not doing that. We'll find another way, we'll figure something else out. So if you're telling me that the man has to know about it, are you just saying that you just tell your husband, oh, this is what's going on, this is what I'm doing, and that's it? Then that's not really a relationship. That's not really a marriage. You're not really respecting your husband. To say that you respect your husband enough that he has to know about it, but then to not care how he feels about it, that's kind of crazy. Because virtually no man is going to be okay with that or is going to want that to happen. And I know if it's me, and see, I feel like the women who feel like it's okay and they don't care are the same women who know that their husband is not going to be okay with it, so they just won't tell him. And contrary to what some of you may think, that is a form of infidelity. Infidelity is not just about cheating sexually or physically. There is such a thing as financial infidelity. And if you're bringing money into our household, into our situation, that is from another person, not family, outside of our situation, that could be a form of financial infidelity. Because why? Another man is not going to just give a woman money out of the kindness of their heart. Outside of your father or one of your brothers or cousins, no man is just going to be giving a woman money with no ulterior motives. And the reason why I say women are not qualified to speak on this, the reason I say that is not being sexist or not trying to exclude women. It's because I'm a man. And I'm a man, and as a man at 35, I know for a fact that no man without an ulterior motive, no man without some type of agenda or intentions, even if those intentions are just as innocent as that man may have some type of feelings for you and may somewhere deep down be hoping that at some point you and your husband break up or you're single again so that he might have a shot. It might just be as innocent as that, which you can't fault someone for having feelings, but no man is just going to financially help a woman he has no obligation to or family ties to. The only type of man who will do that is a man who has some kind of feelings greater than what just friendship is. Because a man who is just friends with a woman, and because I have female friends, would advise that friend who's asking that man for money, if they're in a relationship or they're in a marriage, would advise them against accepting any money from them until they had that conversation with their significant other. Period. Just is what it is. So, I don't think it's okay. I don't even, to be honest with y'all, and this is for those of you women who might want my advice, I strongly recommend you take it. If you're in a dire enough circumstance where you're even considering taking money from another man outside of a man in your family, and that man is not your husband, I strongly advise you, if you have your mindset to do it, don't tell that man, your husband, about it, because he's not going to be okay with it. And unless you're 100% willing to sacrifice whatever it is you needed that money for, you're going to strain the relationship. Even bringing it up to your husband strains the relationship because, and this is the part that gets me, where women say, you know, men are fragile and they're egotistical and they are insecure. It's not about that. The second that you tell me as my wife that you're thinking about asking another man for money or another man offered you money, anything along those lines tells me that you're divulging information and you're confiding in a way in someone else outside of our marriage and outside of your family that you shouldn't be. And that as well is a form of cheating. Depending on what the current climate and environment of the relationship is, even if you're not married, that can be considered a form of cheating. It can be. Period. And to acknowledge that to your husband, if they're halfway smart, they're going to start thinking, well, how was there even a situation? How was there even a scenario for you two to be discussing this where it came up? And it's right. It's not a stretch to see why that would strain the relationship. See, I feel like when women do shit that in the eyes of the man would strain the relationship, we're tagged as insecure or jealous or controlling. But it's okay for women to feel like things strain the relationship, and then the man is still tagged as not being sensitive to her feelings. Y'all gotta stop with this bullshit double-edged sword. It's, I don't know, and then there's also an aspect where I was like, okay, if I'm gonna talk about this, I don't want to have it strictly be just about heterosexual relationships, because it was 2019 obviously, and there are people who are married and who are in relationships who are same-sex couples, who are both women or both men. Let's include everybody. So now my question to you all is, because this is another thing that will debunk those people who will say men are just insecure, because now I'm going to broaden that topic. Anybody, period, no matter what your sexual orientation is, no matter what you identify as, whether you're transgender, whether you're bisexual, whether you're whatever you are, if you are married, if you are in a live-in situation, life partner, however y'all want to define it, for those of you who aren't married, if you are accepting, talking about, asking for, suggesting, hinting, offering financial anything to another person outside of family and outside of that significant other has the right to know about it, and they have the right to decline on your behalf for the union, for the relationship, and you would have to accept it. And you would have to accept the risk that even mentioning that to your significant other, that you were considering that, can potentially strain the relationship. This shit ain't hard to figure out. Let's stop acting like, okay, I get it. Everybody is trying to be on this thing where it's like, you're in a relationship, but you're still two separate people, and we still live our own private lives, and we do what we do, when we're together, but we still got to do what we got to do for ourselves when we're not, for those people who aren't married. And that's cool. I get it to a certain extent. I can't really argue with you. If you're married, it's a different story, but if you're not, okay, you have some recourse there. But let's not act like relationships are not fragile ecosystems. People are fragile enough as it is. And for all of the things that can potentially harm a relationship, why do we go out of our way to do those things that would harm or strain a relationship? And we don't go enough out of our way to do things that will protect that relationship. There's no reason for whatever another person can offer you. There is almost no situation, if two people in a relationship, in a marriage, whatever, are in that marriage together, working hard for, toward a goal together, to build something together, healthy, can go out and work and hustle and grind and do what they got to do. There's no reason why those two people can't somehow figure it out. If you're to the point and you're healthy and you can get up and go to work every day just like I do, and I'm working 2 and 3 jobs, and I'm finding a way to get what I got to get for us, and I'm doing what I got to do, but we're still falling up short, and you're only working 1 job, and you're to the point where you're accepting money from other men, you should look at yourself. Or if you're only working 20 hours a week and I'm working 60, 70, 80, you should look at yourself. But for you to further strain the relationship, and then the excuse is, well, I didn't have this because I only worked that, or I wasn't working during this time period. Okay, that's your laziness. That means you're already not contributing to the relationship, which you should be, and then to further exacerbate that, you go out and essentially step outside of the relationship. Because again, financial infidelity is a thing, and it's actually the number 1 reason for divorce. Now, it's not cheating. Cheating is close second. Financial infidelity, people lying about finances, people using finances for things that are detrimental to the family unit, that are not beneficial to the family unit, people lying about where money's coming from, where money's going. These are the number 1 reasons for divorce. It's finances first, and then it's cheating second. And that's for a reason. Finances are a huge part of a family unit being successful. A huge part of a relationship when you talk about living and marriage. That's a huge part of that whole scenario. You don't have that, you don't have shit. You can have all the love in the world, but if two people ain't working hard together to do what they got to do to make sure everything is taken care of financially, that love is only going to go but so far. Hey, yo, like, comment, and subscribe. I don't pretend to know everything. I just know what I know. Let me know what y'all think about this topic, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace and love.